I'm joined now by Ahmad Bostan, the Director of Marketing and Communications for the Penny Appeal. Thank you so much for joining us. What's your take on what happened?
It is absolutely devastating, and all of our hearts are broken as humanitarians working in Gaza when we see the reality before us. And our deepest condolences are with the 7 people's families right now at this very, very difficult time. The reality is that when aid workers go to crisis zones, as we often do, we expect there will be challenges, but never in our imagination would we see a reality up until now where aid workers are losing their lives on a mass scale. And it really isn't acceptable that right now, at a time when Gaza is facing famine, at least half of the population, there are aid workers struggling to be able to do their job on the ground, on the front line, which is simply to feed people who are starving. And that's exactly what these 7 heroes were doing at the time that their lives were taken.
Does this sort of misidentification happen more than it should? Is it something you have experience of in the past?
I think in Gaza in particular, we are sadly seeing this happen on a number of occasions. And of course, as many of your guests have today said, we need to wait for the outcome of the investigations that are taking place. But it was clearly identifiable that the individuals were a part of a humanitarian organization. The signage was very, very clear. And for us as humanitarians, it's completely unacceptable that that reality is before us right now. When people go on the front line in these types of situations, for example, in specific terms with regards to Gaza, we give at least 2 days notice to the authorities to let them know that distributions will be taking place in a particular location. The routes are agreed, the vehicle tracking is agreed, the types of procedures and processes are agreed, and the fact that those routes and the fact that those procedures could be misconstrued in the way that they appear to have been, resulting in these devastating deaths, is just intolerable.
What's their response when you give them those details? I mean, you said it's been agreed. So do they respond in the affirmative to say, yes, we get it, we agree that this is aid and we understand the details of the journey that they're making? Or do you just notify them that it is going to happen?
A notification is sent. It does vary in terms of whether a response is received in the strong affirmative or not. But as is very, very clear, safe humanitarian routes and routes for humanitarian aid are absolutely pivotal. And you've heard that in the conversations, in the narrative that has been taking place within the media. But unfortunately, on the ground in Gaza, we're not seeing that translate into a reality. And there have been far too many aid workers that have lost their lives in Gaza, and it really results in a devastating situation. Just to give you the practical reality of that, there's over 280,000 metric tons of aid as we speak waiting to get into Gaza. Gaza, a place where half of the population, as I mentioned before, is facing famine. And now, as a result of this incident that we have seen, that lifeline has effectively been cut off because, as we know, the World Central Kitchen has had to stop their operations in Gaza, having absolutely devastating impact on the people who are suffering. So it's not just those people who lose their lives who are killed, but it is the impact that it is having on an already extremely affected population, many of them women and children, many of them malnourished, many of them literally on the brink of starvation.
Just finally, I mean, how crucial a role was World Central Kitchen playing?
Absolutely pivotal. They are one of the absolute cornerstones and building blocks of our foundation in the humanitarian delivery for the people of Gaza. They alone were supporting over 1 million people, and the organizations that they were working with supported hundreds of thousands of people. So the loss of their operations is Gaza is going to be absolutely devastating. But we are absolutely clear that no matter what happens, our teams, partners, aid workers on the ground are determined to continue doing their job, to serve the people of Gaza in this dire hour of need. And all that we ask for is that the immediate humanitarian permanent ceasefire is immediate, happens now, and that everyone in the international community wakes up to the devastating and horrific calamity that we're seeing in Gaza, unprecedented in living memory.
Ahmad Bostan, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.